I'm Simone, and I'm colleagues with Rose from WeDoDemocracy. And I did a handful of citizen assembly, all with the OECD principles as really strict guidelines for making sure that the process are legitimate and also just seen as legitimate. You can always point to the OECD principles, so it's a really helpful tool to follow and use when you do the citizen assemblies. Can it see? Okay. Can I just move on, Rose? I will tell you about the citizen assembly on Lynetteholm and how we used a lot. We had a lot of focus on transparency in this one. Lynetteholm is an artificial island that are being built outside of the Copenhagen harbor, and the project was. Can you go to the next slide? The project was kind of surprise to everyone. The decision of this was made or was released at a press conference where these two gentlemen and actually also two other gentlemen in blue suit, a very classic setup, they came out and they said, "We have a gift for you, Copenhageners. We're gonna build this new artificial island outside of Copenhagen. There will be a lot of room for housing. It will be a part of the coastal protection. There will be new companies out there. Congratulations." And everybody was quite shocked because the political process has been invisible. It's been the decision making about this island has been in a very closed room. There's been no citizen involvement, nothing. So it was kind of a shock to everybody, and it didn't landed well with everybody. Rose, can you change? There was a lot of protests about the island because the environmental impact was huge. The impact on the ocean, the CO2 emission was very, very large. It's a very large construction project. And the construction project would affect Copenhageners for 20 years or more, with the construction material going through the city in trucks. Like, I think it was around 700 estimated trucks that would drive through Copenhagen. So a lot of citizens mobilized and created protest group called Stop Lynetteholm. The environmental organizations, the green organization did a lot of protests. The media there was a high conflict in the media, and the city development company that are building the island, called City and Harbor, they had a really, really hard time after this project was announced, and the years after. And WeDoDemocracy actually did an opinion piece for the newspaper where we went out and said, what happened? How can you do this? Or how can you take a decision making such a large scale project and not involving no citizens, haven't heard any opinions, any perspectives? Something is wrong. And then the city developer, they contacted us and asked us what should we do. And of course we said, you should try again and say, okay, do we make this decision based on citizen involvement? It was a political decision, so it wasn't possible to change, but instead they said, okay, let's do a CA about the process and about recommendation for the process further on, and then recommendations for what should be what should be built on the island, and the city development on the island. So we did CA on those two. There was two phases. It was almost a year long. And one focus that was really, really important because all these organizations, the angry citizens, the media had a lot of focus on the CA and was also saying this is just something they wanted, City and Harbor, the development company, wanted to do to legitimize decision. So transparency was really important in every step we did. And you can go further on, Ross. Thank you. And again. So what we did was we launched the CA with a participation platform so that people that were not a part of the Citizen Assembly could follow the assembly and see what was a part of the process, what knowledge did the citizen get. So there were public programs. All the assembly meetings was live streamed. There were summaries of the assembly, all the materials, the PowerPoint presentations from the presentation on the assemblies was public. And we did a lot to make sure that they wouldn't say, okay, this is just a developing company who will try to make a process where they will convince the citizens that this is a good idea. And we make sure that the governance and design had focus on transparency. We did an advisory board with public figures who were spokespersons, and the advisory board, they chose the expert group, a large expert group of really strict guidelines for what it takes to be an expert. You shouldn't have any commercial interest. You should be in academia. And we had us as the third-part secretary who had some arm's length and a really strict third-part secretary deal with the city development company. And a lot of public press. All the assembly meeting was public for observers. There were table facilitators. So doing a lot to make sure that people could come and see what was going on and follow the process. We also have involvement of the stakeholder, the Stop Lynetteholm group and the Green Environmental group and local councils. We met with them before the CA. They were a part of a large dialogue, panel dialogue during the CA. They could follow the process and we talked with them after. And then, of course, we had some external evaluation and also academia from Copenhagen University who followed the CA and did a research paper on it. And it helped so that the Citizen Assembly in the end was actually seen as very legitimate, and all the organizations that were against it in the beginning, they came to support the CA and support the recommendation in the end. And that was a really helpful, it was really helpful for the impact of the CA.